Hello, good evening and welcome to tonight's broadcast. My name is Dominic Ellis-Peckham and I'm the musical director of London Oriana Choir. We are so pleased you're able to join us and support this virtual broadcast wherever you are across the world. Well, it seems a long time ago since we delivered our very first virtual concert in June, and we are really pleased with the way it's been received. Since then, London Oriana Choir has been able to meet in person, physically in rehearsal in London for a few times since September. But as you will know, sadly, we are back in lockdown and unable to continue meeting physically. But this does not stop how we connect with you. Tonight, we bring you our second virtual concert entitled Global Women, Mightier Music. This concert is again dedicated to the work of women composers, but this time we are so pleased to be welcoming some international guest choirs, themselves too performing work by women. In addition to those amazing guest performances, we have some interviews and some wonderful introductions from composers as well. So sit back and enjoy what we hope is a wonderful evening for you all. Do please share this performance with all your friends and families, wherever you're watching. The first piece is T'amo mia vita, I love you, my life.
T'amo mia vita,
My name is Shruthi Rajasekar, and I'm an American composer, and I'm so honored to be a part of London Oriana's 5:15 concert. The piece you're about to hear is called Green Fingers, and the poem is by poet and translator Anna Leader, and her poem is about a community garden, and it's earnest and sweet and a little bit silly as well. So it was a real treat to get to set this poem. Because the community garden is also a metaphor for choirs. People coming together, maybe making some personal sacrifice in order to create something that's greater than them, that's bigger than them, and that sustains all of us and feeds all of us. So the community, the audience in this case, is an integral part of what every choir does when they make music. So it's so special that London Oriana is finding a way to still be connected to their community and sustain all of us, even virtually. Enjoy the piece.
Oriana Choir. I'm Irina Dusheyka, choir conductor from the Kiev National Taras Shevchenko University. You know our piece by Vittoria Poleva, this is really very beautiful music, and this music from the space. Thank you very much for inviting us to the project, and I hope you are all safe and healthy, and I wish our nearest future to meet you again in Kiev or in London or somewhere in Europe. Thank you very much, and big hug for you from Kiev.
Wow, what a fantastic performance. Thank you so much to the Dnipro choir from Kiev in Ukraine for that amazing contribution to tonight. A wonderful piece, Good King, Good Mother by Vittoria Poleva. We are so grateful that you're able to be part of this, and thank you again to your artistic director and conductor, Irina Dusheyka. We do hope you enjoy the rest of the contributions this evening. Our next piece is by a good friend to the choir and one of our former 515 composers in residence, Rebecca Dale. Taken from her critically acclaimed Mightier requiem, this is If I Should Go Before You Do. Hannah Kendall, you have been announced. Congratulations on being our final 515 composer in residence. Now, Hannah, the choir has really enjoyed working with our composers in residence so far. So we started with Cheryl Francis Hode, then Rebecca Dale, Jessica Curry, and we're in the processes of finishing a slightly paused year with the great Anna Disley Simpson. So we've had great relationships with them, and they all seem to have understood and agreed with the necessity. Do you still feel that an initiative like 515 is important and necessary in today's climate?
Yes, I think so. I think it's important to highlight that women are writing music and to have opportunities and to, not only write and work with ensembles, but to have an aspect of profile raising.
My name is Subha Shankaran and I'm the composer of Kannama. The text is an adaptation of the love poem by Tamil poet Bharathiyar. Kannama means apple of my eye, and in this context, it's from the perspective of a person who is singing to their lover. I've written this as a suite of music in 5 kind of distinct parts, and each of those parts is written in a specific raga or melodic mode. And this idea of ragas comes from the South Indian Carnatic classical music tradition. And so I'm using a lot of the complexities of melody and rhythm that come directly from there. And I'm also superimposing choral harmonic ideas from North America and European sensibility. And so it's a true East meets West composition. You'll be hearing the Toronto Mendelssohn Choir singing, and I'm singing the solo. Along with that, we have the beautiful Odissi dancer Supriya Nayak, who has choreographed for this piece. I want to take this moment to thank the London Oriana Choir for bringing this piece back to life. It's one that's near and dear to my heart, and I'm so thankful and so grateful and excited that so many people get to enjoy watching and listening. This is Kannama.
like God in heaven divine.
Feeling like God in heaven divine. I lay my earthly existence in time, without any distraction of mind. I'm feeling like God in heaven, feeling like God in heaven, feeling like God in heaven divine, feeling like God in heaven divine, heaven divine.
Heaven divine. My sweet soul, I will cherish forever in my lips. There is sweet nectar as I utter your name. Kannama. My sweet soul, I will cherish forever in my lips. As I utter your name, Kannama.
Hello, Jessica Curry here. Really thrilled to be included in Oriana's programme. The music of mine that's been chosen is from the game Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. It's a game that's set in Shropshire and it's about a global pandemic, so it may sound familiar to you. Ostensibly, it's a game about the end of the world, but actually it's very much about love and friendship and people doing their best in the very worst of times. I've been in awe and so moved by the sacrifices that people have made this year for one another. So really hope you enjoy the music, look after each other, look after yourself, and hope to see you soon.
Please welcome to the stage the London Oriana Choir.
Hi, my name is James Norton. This year, Maggie's will be bringing the Christmas festivities to your home with a virtual carol concert on Sunday the 13th of December at 6 p.m. So please do join me to celebrate Christmas and support Maggie's.
Good evening. My name is Susanna Koje and I am composer from Poland. I have a great pleasure today to introduce to you my piece Arion for choir and string orchestra. The piece was awarded on the International Festival of University Choirs Universitas Cantat in Poznań, Poland in 2015. First time on stage, it was performed jointly by 7 festival choirs from all over the world. It was a tremendous experience to see so many people singing my music. They enjoyed it equally, so in the end they brought my piece back home. In every country Arion was performed, every time it enabled to create space for making new friendships and joy of singing together. And for me as a composer, it is an invaluable experience. The piece is based on the Latin text written by Ovid, an ancient Roman poet. It tells the story of Arion, a hero, sailor, but also a musician. He faces dangerous adventures. His singing, though, saves his life. The music flows as the waves of the sea. At first it is choir who imitates the sound of waves. Later it is followed by changes of harmony, undulating melody, especially in the string orchestra part. I would like to express how happy I am that the London Oriana Choir is giving my piece another performance with your online concert. It is an important task to share the music despite the difficulties we all face recently. Enjoy!
Well, we are delighted to have with us now a very, very special friend of London Oriana Choir, the amazing Josie Dixon, who is the daughter of Elsa Dixon, a composer that we know and love very, very much for a very poignant moment in her compositional life and for the family. How did our relationship and our work begin? How did it all start?
Well, as I recall, it began with a choral workshop that you were conducting that my two sons were singing in. And you were doing a very nice job in between the numbers in a performance to the parents afterwards of telling us about your other musical projects. And you began to talk about 5:15. And this set off a train of thought. You were, at the time, I think, speaking about the fact that you were interested in music by women composers of all ages. And you then went to talk about a very brilliant 15-year-old, I think. And I thought, yes, all the way down to 15. Now, what about all the way up to 85? Because my mother, who was approaching her 85th birthday, had been a composer. She'd stopped writing music by then. But she'd had a very fertile period of not much more than 15 years in the 1980s and 90s. And there were a few performances at the time, some very memorable things, Ian Partridge singing some of the songs, for example, and the Brindisi Quartet, who were led by Jacqueline Shave, who now directs the Britten Sinfonia. So there were a few very exciting moments at that time. But actually, she never had a great deal of recognition, and eventually her composition petered out gradually. And as I guess we knew that we were approaching the end of her life, we didn't yet know she was ill, but she was in her mid-80s. I was thinking about this very important period of her life, and I was also puzzling over what to give her for her 85th birthday, because it was certainly too late to give her material presents. That's a bit beside the point at that stage in your life. You don't want more stuff, you want less.
Absolutely.
So I realised that actually it needed to be about a bit of belated fulfilment. So as I recall, I wrote you one of those "you don't know me, but I've got this mum" kind of emails and asked if you might be interested in an anthem for choir, which I knew amongst her compositions was something that was really quite close to her heart and which had never been performed. And everything from there was tremendously exciting. As I recall, within 24 hours, you'd scheduled it for premiere at the Cutty Sark. And the timing turned out to be absolutely providential, because that was in January, February, I think.
Yeah, I think so, January. Yeah.
In June, we discovered that she was ill. And in the end, the concert in early July fell 5 weeks before she died. And that was really the last moment that I could possibly have taken her to London. And she was there for this performance that really brought something full circle in her life. She said to me the next day, it was like a fairy tale. And 5 weeks later, she was gone, but her music began to be the focus of a whole new revival. And that has been something very exciting that sprang very particularly from that 5:15 moment. It would not have happened without you. Well, yes, it was really our last hurrah that evening, and really very, very precious in the memory.
But as you say, a catalyst for the future. So what have you been doing over the last couple of years with all the other many pieces that Elsa wrote?
Oh, well, it's been very exciting. I've really, I've made it a bit of a project to get to grips with her musical archive. It's nearly all in manuscript. And there's a great deal there that hadn't been performed. So since then, uncovering works, sometimes puzzling over the manuscript, working out what was the best way to get them performed. The real highlights, it's hard to pick things out, but we've had 2 more premieres, which were at St George's, Bristol, very beautiful venue, fabulous acoustic. The first of those was a sonata for piano duet, 4 hands, called Airs of the Seasons, and we had that in autumn 2018. And then not long before the lockdown, actually, in February of this year, a beautiful premiere of her songs with string quartet, for soprano and string quartet, called The Spirit of Love.
Is there a website or ways to find?
There absolutely is. So www.ailsadixon, that's AILSADIXON.co.uk. Also, if you were to Google Elsa Dixon YouTube, you'll find all the recordings collected there.
Josie, why don't you introduce this very special piece?
Oh, thank you. Well, it's a great pleasure to. So These Things Shall Be is a setting for choir of a prophetic poem by John Addington Symonds. And this is, I think, the first performance, am I right? It's the original performance, the premiere at the Cutty Sark in July 2017. Very beautiful occasion. And if the video survives are uncut, you will see my mother taking her last bow at the end. So a very special occasion for us. And thank you again to the lovely Oriana Choir.
These things shall be.
Leslie Simpson, and I've been the composer in residence with the London Oriana Choir for their 2019/2020 season. And this piece that you're about to hear, In Their Gold Coats, was the first piece of mine that the choir performed back in June 2019, and the title comes from the piece of poetry that I used that occurs in Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. And I was hugely drawn to this text mainly because of the theme of nature that runs throughout, the kind of ethereal quality to it, the theme of magic and the mystical as well. That's very much something that I tried to emulate in the music that I wrote, but particularly with the folk stuff, I really enjoy including melodies and rhythms that are perhaps at least folk influenced in a lot of my choral writing, and that is what I did in the opening. In particular, you'll notice that there's quite a lilting folk-like idea for the upper voices that is in quite an intricate canon, and it then layers up and goes into a big kind of cascading idea where the text is transferred from the upper voices gradually down to the lower voices and back up again in a big kind of sweeping idea. So that's a little bit about the background of the piece. I'm incredibly grateful to Dom and the choir for the past year. Firstly, I've learnt so much, and it's been really nice to write for such an enthusiastic and dedicated choir, and also really grateful for what is essentially a second performance of this piece. So thank you very much to them, and thank you for watching, and this is my piece, In Their Gold Coats.
from San Francisco. This is Valerie Santagat, and I am the artistic director and conductor of the San Francisco Girls Chorus. I am thrilled to be able to share with you the Womanly Song of God, written just for us by American composer Libby Larsen. This video is an excerpt from a performance created in co-production with the Berkeley Ballet Theatre, artistic director Robert Deckers, and choreographed by Alexi Borth. As women, we still need to stand up for each other. We gathered young singers and dancers to celebrate the creative power of womanhood. Thank you for having us.
Do
Join me, Lulu, for a fabulously festive evening on the 13th of December to support Maggie's and people with cancer. All you have to do is to search for Carols in the Kitchen.
Well, there we have it. Our concert this evening is almost over. Thank you so much for watching and supporting our way of communicating with you. And don't forget, if you would like to watch this performance again or share this with friends, families and music lovers, then our concert is available for the foreseeable future by visiting our website, londonorianachoir.com. I'd also like to thank everyone involved in making tonight happen. Our very special guest choirs, Dnipro Choir of Ukraine, Toronto Mendelssohn Choir, Adam Mickovic University Chamber Choir and San Francisco Girls Chorus. Thank you so much for being involved, for sharing your amazing performances with us, and to all of your singers and conductors, we hope you're well. Behind the scenes, it's been a huge effort and we're really grateful to everyone who's worked so hard to make tonight possible. Our final piece is by Amy Beach, Peace I Leave With You. A very special virtual project by London Oriana Choir, and we do hope the sentiment and the thoughts behind it help and comfort you at this time. But we have a very special introduction by Dr. Leanne Curtis of Boston Women's Heritage Trail. Thank you very much, good evening, and stay safe.
Amy Beach was a celebrated American composer who wrote many of her best-known works during the 24 years she was married to a noted Boston physician, Dr. Henry Harris Aubrey Beach. Born Amy Marcy Cheney in 1867, she was a prodigy, both as a pianist and a composer. A remarkable musical genius who composed in a vast range of genres, she was one of the first American composers to earn international recognition for her work. Beach was the first American woman to write in large musical forms, such as her Mass of 1890, her Symphony, Opus 32, 1896, and her Piano Concerto, Opus 45, 1900. But being first would mean little if the works had not also been critically acclaimed upon their premieres, and widely performed and celebrated thereafter, and they were. She achieved all this despite facing obstacles, including a lack of formal training in composition. She had only 1 year of counterpoint and harmony lessons, but she taught herself with a rigorous course of self-study that is documented in surviving notebooks. Additionally, her husband curtailed her career as a performing pianist, which had been a great passion of hers and one which she resumed with enthusiasm following his death in 1910. But fortunately, her husband encouraged and supported her work as a composer. It was he who urged her to take up the large forms. Her statement, "From Boston, I could reach out to the world," was emphasized by her extensive output, with more than 300 works published in her lifetime. Amy had been raised in a strict Calvinist tradition, but when she married Dr. Beach, she also joined his faith, the Episcopal Church. Beach's first large work, her huge Mass, Opus 5 of 1891, was, I suggest, a testament of her devotion. The short work you are about to hear is from the same year. In it we hear that she found in the Episcopal faith a loving God of comfort and peace, in contrast to the Calvinist emphasis on fear and judgment. Amy had the capacity of synesthesia, of two senses working together. In Amy's case, she heard certain keys in specific colors. This short responsory, reflecting on the gift of peace, is in the key of E flat, Amy's pink key. And I'm wearing my synesthesia t-shirt, and here's the pink key, E flat major. So this is the same key as her Mass, and of course a Mass also ends with an invocation for peace. And this peace is surely something we need today. Thank you very much.
Peace I leave with you. I leave with you. Not as Peace I leave with you. I leave with you. My peace I give unto you. No